fine gentleman who knows a lot about YouTube. Roberto Lake is back. Roberto?
Not yet. We're gonna get it up.
Come on, Roberto.
Roberto Blake, come on out. Give him some music, some more players, and educate together, social media. Thanks for
Coming back. If you go.
So can't you introduce the next gentleman over here? Let me read this a little bit. So this next gentleman actually, this is a good one for the ladies. So this gentleman, he enjoyed.
Wait, he's not good for the ladies? Jeez, Steve. Way to offend the speakers. Man, go on. Let's play it.
So I'm not going to call his name for him, but I'll describe him. He enjoys the unique distinction of formerly being a successful international fashion high runway model.
Now I get it.
Now you get it? Where is he? That's a secret.
Ladies.
You know, he's actually works for a company called Compass. Let's put our hands together for Brandon Trentham. Come on up, international. So he knows what this is. Brandon, come on up. Thank you for joining us. This is it. And he knows the Instagram.
Well, he's here to talk about Instagram.
Absolutely.
Okay, so now we've got two of the great pillars, YouTube and Instagram. Which would you like to see next, Facebook or LinkedIn? Which one?
LinkedIn is actually what is a good one. You want to introduce
they're here. Oh, all right. Facebook, they said. Alex Melen from yesterday.
Come on up, Alex. Thanks from SmartSites.com. Alex Melen. He just knows social media and Facebook.
Now,
let's get your microphone.
I'm very happy to bring in a gentleman who is, I've seen his work on LinkedIn. We met online about 2 years ago. We first met in person today. He knows LinkedIn inside and out. He is the CEO of a phenomenal digital agency in Brooklyn, Ajax Union. Joe Apfelbaum, I'd like to invite you to the stage to talk about LinkedIn.
Joe Apfelbaum. Come on up, Joe. He's a LinkedIn specialist. Look at that.
Okay.
So this is social media?
Social media. Everybody ready? So, everybody knows social media. We've talked now for a day and a half about the importance of leveraging your brand and knowing what to do. Let's just kick it off. I'd like to start with Joe on LinkedIn. I guess one of the questions that jumps out is why are so few people leveraging LinkedIn and what's going on? Facebook seems to be, YouTube seems to be very popular. Tell us a little bit about that.
All right, thank you so much, Jason. So when I think about LinkedIn in general, who here knows how many people are on LinkedIn? Like, people don't even know. Like, you know that billions of people are on Facebook because everyone's talking about it, but there are actually over 500 million people on LinkedIn. And the thing about LinkedIn is the largest platform for professionals. That means that everybody on there is either looking for a job or has a job or owns a business or something like that. They're there to network. So when you come to conferences like this, it's great because you get to meet people, you get to network, especially if you're doing real estate or you're doing online real estate or whatever you're doing. It's great to leverage your relationships. Now the thing is, if you take a look at the 500 million people that are on LinkedIn, there's only about 146 million in the US. And out of those, there's less than 1 million posts going up every single day. So you would imagine there are 500 million people, there would be more people updating their profiles and staying top of mind with their network. You see, the average CEO has 930 connections on LinkedIn. And if you think about it, 930 connections on LinkedIn, that's a lot of connections. That's a lot of people you have to keep up with. You can't keep up with 930 people every single day by messaging them or emailing them. You wouldn't be able to work. You wouldn't be able to do anything. So a great way to stay top of mind with them, and a lot of people don't know this, is to update your LinkedIn every day. And I recently wrote an article on LinkedIn about why people are not posting, and I hear a lot of excuses. I want you to think to yourself right now, why am I not posting on LinkedIn? Who here posted on LinkedIn today? Raise your hand if you posted on. Look around the room. 4 or 5 people, right? This is exactly how many people are posting on LinkedIn. And if you're not posting, ask yourself why. Why am I not posting? I hear all types of excuses. I hear reasons like, I'm not sure what to post. I'm not an influencer, I'm a private person, or I don't have time. If I had 40 hours a day, I would consider doing it. I don't know how you make time to do this, Joe. But the reality is, we have the same amount of time as Warren Buffett has, right? We have the same 24 hours in the day, and it's not so much about how much time you have, but it's more about having a plan, having a strategy.
Okay. So let's try to delve into that. I know there are some strategies you can implement on LinkedIn. There's a feature, I think, direct messaging, right? How does that work? What do you do with that?
So the idea, when it comes to posting content on LinkedIn, you have to have a plan, which means you have to know what your goal is. That's number one. Number two is you have to understand who you're targeting. And number three is you have to understand what message would work for that target to help you get to your goal. That's the foundation. If you don't have that, then you won't even be able to message people effectively. Who here has recently gotten an annoying spam message on LinkedIn? Raise your hand. You got an annoying message on LinkedIn, right? So a bunch of everybody has gotten some annoying spam message on LinkedIn.
Roberto messaged me earlier. I was spammed.
What's an annoying message that you recently got? Did you raise your hand?
What did I get? I just got another. Some developer in India knows that I'm in the internet space and said,
would you like me to build you a website? Here's a list of services that I have. And you look at that, you're like, no, I don't want you to ever build me anything. Leave me alone, right? Think about it. Or somebody messaged me today, he wrote, Joe, how are you? I'm like, what? Like, I have no idea who you are. Like, why are you sending me, how are you? Like, I have no time for this right now, right? Or somebody sent somebody in my office, and she's the president of our company, and I was like, what's an annoying thing that somebody said? Somebody said, I'm pretty. I was like, I would love if people say that I'm pretty on LinkedIn, right? I lost 95 pounds.
you do look good, Joe.
Thank you, thank you. Since my photo over there, that photo was 265 pounds, and since then I lost 95 pounds. So you can see that I look a little bit different.
All right. Give it up to Joe.
Thank you.
How you living?
Yeah.
Why aren't you doing a talk about that?
Yeah.
I actually wrote a book. Yeah, I actually wrote a book called High Energy Secrets, and when people DM me, they DM me, some people say, Joe, how'd you lose the weight? Because I post a lot about my weight loss, and I do a running video every day, so if you go to my LinkedIn, right now you'll see me running. At the end of my run, I do a video because I get inspired. I get into a really great state right after I run. I'm very high energy, and I have these great ideas, and so I post about that. And so people DM me all the time, and they say, Joe, how did you lose weight? Can you send me a message? And I send them a very short link to Amazon. Buy my book. I wrote a book called High Energy Secrets with my step-by-step strategy, because ultimately it's all about a strategy. So if you don't have a strategy to get answered, your DMs to get answered, it's not going to get answered. So here's 2 tips that I can give you all to be able to send direct messages to people on LinkedIn that will help you get replies. Number 1 is send gratitude. When somebody connects with me, the first thing that I do, I say, thanks for connecting with me on LinkedIn. And just to get them to answer, what I would say, add to that, and this works really, really well with most people, tell me something about you that's not on your profile and that most people don't know. And then they're like, wow, now I have to think something about myself, and most people don't know that I can share a secret with this person. And believe it or not, secrets create trust. So number 1, gratitude, and then ask them something about themselves. And the second thing I would say is keep it super short. People send these really long messages, and I reply with TDL, like too long I didn't read, TLDR, right? I'm not going to read these long. 57% of people on LinkedIn are checking it from their cell phones. And I see many of you are on your cell phones right now, which is totally cool. And if you are on your cell phones and you do open up the LinkedIn app, I would encourage you to click on the Find Nearby feature right now, and you will see everybody that's using the LinkedIn app in this room. It's like a phenomenal, phenomenal tool for networking. If you open up your phone and you just click on
the exercise, people.
My Network, this is like real time. This is real time. It works with your Bluetooth, so anyone that's within 30 feet of you, you'll actually be able to see all the human beings that are here and quickly connect with all of them. So you open up your app, you click on My Network, and then you click on Find Nearby. And I've run 12 LinkedIn meetups this year so far, and I bring engaged LinkedIn users together because most people that are on LinkedIn are not engaged. And I don't benefit from people on LinkedIn that are not engaged because I'm an influencer on LinkedIn, and in order to have influence on LinkedIn, you need people to like and comment on your posts, and that's why I've had over 300 people come to my meetup, and these are 300 people out of the 14,000 I'm connected to that are people that I like, know, and actually trust because I keep seeing them over and over coming to my meetups, communicating with me online, and that's really the key with LinkedIn, is building a real community.
So Joe, if you have 14,000 on LinkedIn, that's a phenomenal number. What is the average number of connections on LinkedIn that most people have? What is it?
The average CEO, the statistics for the average CEO has 930 connections on LinkedIn. And there's something called the Dunbar Law. There was a professor, Robert Dunbar, a researcher, that researched how many connections a human being can have. And on average, a human being can only have 150 real relationships at any one given time. If I told you to sit down and write your top 100 relationships and rank them in order of priority, most people don't even think of that. You have 5,000 contacts on your phone. I don't even know how to prioritize my contacts in general. So I always look at my contacts and I say to myself, who are strategic contacts for my business, for my goals? We all have strategic contacts, and if you know who your top 30 strategic contacts are, you will go so much further than most people in any industry, especially in real estate, where you have to build relationships, you have to have trust. So I want you, if there's one takeaway that you can have is, literally before the end of the year, make 2 hours to go through all your contacts and think about who's strategic for my business, who can refer me business, who can help me with my goals, or people that I actually like spending time with. I know so many people that I don't like spending time with, but there aren't that many people that I actually want to go out and have a good time with that have things that are kind of like me, that are geeky like me, or nerdy like me, or like stocks, or like marketing, or like technology, or personal development. Like I love Tony Robbins, I love all this stuff. But most people are not like that. So when I find people that are entrepreneurs and that are like that, I call them hungry entrepreneurs. I want to hang out with them. So think about who you want to spend time with. And if you look around in this room, you might find 3, 4, 5 that you can later follow up with, especially if you open your app and you click on the Find Nearby feature. I'm looking at it right now, and I see so many people on here. Anthony, Catherine, Juan, Jason, Bill, Jason again. There's so many of you on here. Tabitha, it's amazing to see the real human beings that you can later connect with, right? Think about this. You're not on social media to connect with profiles. You're there to connect with real people. So I want to encourage you to actually connect with people and to build real relationships.
Excellent. That's great advice, Joe.
Is there a tool you'd recommend for organizing and prioritizing strategic contacts?
I actually wrote an article, so I've written over 140 articles on LinkedIn. By the way, there are only 3 million articles. Like if you look around LinkedIn, there are only 3 million articles and 500 million people, and I wrote 140 of those. And one of those articles, I wrote about a process that I had this exact issue. When I had 8,000 connections, I was like, how the heck am I supposed to go through 8,000 connections? So I'm a strategist. This is what I do. I strategize about my life. I strategize about my business. I strategize about everything. It's one of my top 5 strengths. And so I decided I'm going to create a strategy for how to leverage my connections. And there's a 3-step process. I call it recognize, strategize, and prioritize. Those are the 3-step process. Number 1 is go through your entire list of connections, whether you have 50, 100, or even 1,000 connections. Go through the entire list and identify who you recognize. And right away, you're going to see that you probably recognize, if you have 10,000 connections, you probably only recognize about 1,000 of them, 10% of your connections. Now, all of a sudden, you have to worry about the rest because you don't recognize the names. It doesn't matter to you. What matters is the people that you recognize. Now you go through the people that you recognize and you strategize. Are they important to my business? Can I do business with them? How much do I like spending time with them? And then all of a sudden, it gets down to, let's say, 100 or 200 people. And out of those, you prioritize how to communicate with those people. Some of them will be engaged on LinkedIn. Some of them you'll meet at an event. Some of them are part of your synagogue or your church or whatever it is. And those are the people that you'll prioritize. Put in your calendar because what goes in your calendar gets done.
Okay. Excellent. Thank you, Joe. Let's shift. Very informative. We'll come back. We're actually going to buy some extra time from the break to continue this panel, so we're not doing the hard stuff. Let's shift over to a completely different platform. Let's go to Instagram. We'll get Brandon to talk about Instagram. I think everybody, show of hands, everybody in here knows what Instagram is? How many people use Instagram? Okay, a handful. So, you got the mic? Here, take this one. Take it. All right, so Brandon, let's talk a little
So, Instagram. I, unlike him, haven't wrote a ton of articles. I had no idea what I was doing. But like most real estate people, I came from another business completely different from this when I started. I worked as a model. Yeah, I worked the catwalks for a long time. So I utilized that. Those photos, those connections, those people in the fashion industry in New York, whatever it was that broke down, and I put them in categories just like he was saying about using your contacts. I did that before I started an Instagram account, and I realized you need to keep it personal and you need to keep a business. So the personal, I automatically linked to my Facebook. So I added 1,000 people, whatever it was, the friends I had on there, that added me back. From there, I started going and like following, liking everything they did. I wanted them to interact with me and get them back on mine. The same thing, I've just started a team page for my team at Compass that we've recently joined. And I'm using the same platform, I guess. It's more so, the personal is my day-to-day life. So I use me as a broker, walking down the street, I'm on the subway, I'm in the listing. Right after I get a listing, it's about what the next stage is, right? If it's like, if a broker's had it previously, it's me walking in and like, how can I change this, revamp it? The staging is a big thing that she was speaking of before. A lot of my clients in that $1 million to $5 million range can't afford IMG. That comes to me. I'm the next guy doing it. Okay, so we do before and after. So if you need someone, I'm here to help. But
we all have a $20 million, $100 million condo that we're selling, right? So, but
it's unfortunate that we don't. But in this market, I'm okay having $1 million that they're actually selling. So for that, it's about personalizing it. Like, I want to interact with these people on, things that we enjoy outside of real estate. Because to be honest, it can get boring. Like, people get tired of seeing pictures of apartments day in and day out. So I want to make it fun. Whether it's like me doing something silly when I've just got the listing of sitting in this big, beautiful new bathtub, or getting to know the doorman, making a video of the area. But then like really personal and the things that you like on your day-to-day. Like, for instance, I have a Cavalier King Charles dog that I've been obsessed with for 10 years. She is a big part of my Instagram. She has her own Instagram. And so many of those people actually follow me because of my dog. My dog now has built my Instagram up to 35,000 people that I interact with on a daily. So, it's supposed to be
35,000?
Yeah, 35,000. So of those people, the percentage that I'm interacting with, it doesn't have to be about real estate, but it's always bringing it back. So whether it's that dog walking down the street going to one of my listings, or I'm taking a photo of her in the listing, it's always bringing it back to what I do, but without saying I'm screaming real estate at them.
Okay, great. Do you have any tips for someone who just decided to open an Insta account, and what are the first couple things that they should do at that point?
There's a lot of different strategies out there, how to get followers, but it's really about how to get specific followers that you want. I'm not looking for the guy that's, in India that I'm never going to have an interaction with. Hopefully he has a friend, so I'll take his like or his follow, but it's more about the, specific community. So again, I'm following all of my connections from LinkedIn, from Facebook. All of that first, that's the number one step, just to get, so you don't look like a fake account.
Right.
Your friends, all of their circles. And then from there, very specific hashtags. So if that's, I primarily focus in downtown. So that's Chelsea, Flatiron, all the area, our offices there. So I'm like, all of my hashtags are specific. It's not New York real estate, it's, Chelsea apartment, Chelsea condo, doorman, like all specific things that fit that criteria of the listing. And those hashtags, it's not an instant, like or gratification. Those people that follow hashtags now are following what I do in my posts. So every day, even if I'm not posting, I'm getting new people following me because they follow a hashtag and I see my stuff and we start to
Right. So, thank you, Brandon. I guess the takeaway is that one thing is, again, you know already, you have to be active every day, right, if you can. Roberto was talking yesterday about YouTube and getting the videos and creating the content. I guess you really get into this, but it is a job, and you're out there marketing yourself, so you really have to be active. I have to say, I've been remiss, right? I didn't post a single thing on LinkedIn. Now, I've had an excuse for the past 2 days, but this was the prime opportunity to be getting out there and promoting my LinkedIn and Facebook and others. I did tweet.
I actually posted when we took a selfie together, and I tagged him and posted it as soon as I walked in.
Right.
So that's an opportunity for you to realize that this conference, taking selfies with some of the VIP attendees,
Right.
and then literally just posting it right from your phone. Boom.
So, okay, let's shift, since we're at Insta, let's shift quickly to Facebook. They are the same company, right? But different platforms. So Alex, maybe you could jump in and explain a little bit about how you leverage Facebook. It's not just for you to post pictures of your family and your dog and your plate of food that you had today. It's something else, right? You can leverage it in different ways.
Yeah, definitely. So Facebook's probably the most well-known platform out of all of them, although I assume all of you guys know all the platforms we're talking about today. Facebook's the biggest one, the most used there for all the metrics they're pretty much out there. I think with Facebook, it's important to realize that it could be used in a lot of different ways, and you really have to think about how you're using it. For example, you could be doing a lot on it for brand building, and that part is without a cost. Literally just, same as Instagram, you're posting, you're keeping it updated, you're really trying to build your brand image. And for the real estate agents out there, you really have to think yourself as a brand. And when you get into that mindset, I think they'll change the way you interact with Facebook. Everything you do, similar to Instagram, you should be posting, you should be literally showing off your brand image and really building that, because a lot of that will help you reinforce your status, not only with the current people who follow you, but it'll help you a lot with those people recommending you to their friends and so on.
Alex, let me jump in because it's important. Can you speak to, when you have a Facebook account, a business account, it tends, I've found, and I've read about this, you have to boost the post. And you have to pay Facebook in order to get real views. Can you speak to that and what the importance of that and how that works?
Yeah, so over the years, the amount of organic exposure your posts get has declined. So it used to be that you would make a post and everyone who follows you, likes you on Facebook will see it. So these days, that's not the case. So when you make a post, some people will see it sporadically. So sometimes, and you have to do the boosting very carefully. You have to think about what you boost. And in a lot of cases, the post you boost has two different goals. So one is to get to all the audience who already follow you, and you could boost your post to other audiences to kind of attract people who don't already know about you. And I think that's a good segue to the other piece of Facebook, that you could be doing a lot of Facebook ads. So along with building your brand image and all of that, you could literally be doing very, very targeted ads on Facebook. And Facebook is really, really good at letting you target age, gender, behaviors, everything, because Facebook has all that data on everyone. So it's very powerful to be able to target in that way for both trying to find new people to sell houses and finding someone to buy them.
Okay, so that's like, I'm not sure how many people are familiar, but let's kind of talk about that and the steps. Like when you post an image or you create an ad, what happens? You can go in and select the audience, right? And
yes. So Facebook has a lot of really cool audience features. So you could use the built-in Facebook audience targeting. So when you build an ad, you literally pick who you target it to, and then you could do very specific geos. You could target to city, age, gender, behavioral targeting. Also, what Facebook got in trouble for, and what a lot of agencies were taking advantage of and getting really good results, is that you could put in third-party data into Facebook. So for example, if you have a list of people that you know that are about to sell their home for whatever reason, you have this list, you could import that into Facebook and target those people specifically, and overlay even geography and age and other things on top of that. They kind of cut back that feature a little bit, the third-party sources, but there's still a lot of opportunities in that space.
thanks, Alex. All right, let's shift to a completely different platform, which we heard about yesterday, a different platform, YouTube, which is the largest platform. Roberto, let's just jump in because you know the topic. I'm going to let you.
Well, I mean, YouTube is technically not the largest platform. It is the second largest traffic website in the world, the largest video platform in the world, and the second largest search engine in the world. I believe that Facebook right now would have the social media monopoly in terms of real estate, with about, what, 2.6 billion users now, with YouTube trailing behind and just crossing 2 billion. But I think when we reach that billion mark, it's like, nothing to be shy about. I don't think it's like I don't think, a silver or bronze is that bad when we get to that level. That being said, interesting thing, Joe, I have a question, because I'm getting into YouTube and the video aspect of that, but you have a lot of interesting figures. Do you happen to know the figures of how many people are uploading video regularly to LinkedIn, or how many LinkedIn videos on average published today?
They haven't published any figures lately, but we went through all the LinkedIn videos, LinkedIn video figures. They haven't really published anything on their own, like they have like an About Me page with all the LinkedIn figures, but I know that most people don't post any video. Like, you look at profiles, right?
I started doing Monday through Friday. It's actually been
On LinkedIn.
LinkedIn video, not repurposing the YouTube videos. I'm about to start doing that and comparing the numbers more because I found something interesting. And I'm going to talk about this. Like, video platforms in general, and almost every social media platform is now adopting video because of what I said yesterday about YouTube. Video is the next best thing to being face-to-face, and it's actually more scalable because right now I have an inventory of 1,200 YouTube videos that are working for me right now while I'm spending time with you guys. There's videos generating leads for my email list, creating brand awareness for me, generating direct sales, generating ad revenue, and generating affiliate sales. As we speak, I have 1,200 YouTube videos acting as my direct sales force right now, working as my direct sales force. Every video might as well be an employee as far as I'm concerned. The platform is like employee of the month for me. It's fantastic, right? So here's the thing. If you figure out that on one platform and you have content, you can either do a native direct upload of that same content if it's relevant to a similar community in another platform, aka LinkedIn, rather than just doing the share, because every platform favors its own native uploads. Facebook used to be great back in 2012 to share YouTube videos. This is why you always have to stay on top of this, come to conferences like NameSummit, because you have to stay on top of the shifts and changes in these platforms, their culture, the algorithms, the tactics, strategies, etc. But you used to be able to gamify in 2010 through 2012 to late 2013. You could gamify Facebook and siphon a massive audience for YouTube videos by sharing in Facebook and then getting organic traffic that directly goes over to YouTube. You could explode a YouTube channel just by tapping into Facebook and the organic reach of that. And they cut that out with the knees really quickly and decided that they wanted to monopolize traffic on their own platform. And every social media platform is like that. One of the things that is vulnerable with businesses wanting to grow an audience on YouTube is they immediately push the traffic off of the platform, which hinders growth. And then they say, well, I'm growing too slow, or I'm working so hard, and it's not happening. It's like, well, are you taking people away from the platform? Because how do you expect, if you think about their business, if you're taking people away to a competitor, and if you are the competitor, well, that's not in their best interest, so of course they're not helping you grow. And that's true for Facebook, that's true for Instagram, although Instagram is actually not that bad when it comes to distribution. It's not nearly as aggressive as Facebook, but now that the founders have left and now that it's more part of the Facebook culture, that'll probably change too. So, like, yay for that, right? So the reason I like YouTube as a platform is because if you prioritize YouTube, you can repurpose and cut up the thing that you make to distribute in multiple platforms. AKA, you could make a YouTube video, you could do an interview with a professional in your industry or niche. That interview, the audio for that is still fantastic to repurpose into a podcast. And a podcast is something that you can natively distribute and post without a penalty in Facebook, in LinkedIn, distribute in Twitter, etc. And you can take a snippet of the video from that YouTube video and you can post that natively to Instagram or paste that natively even to Facebook and use it as a trailer to drive traffic to that interview on YouTube. So now you have a native direct upload to these other platforms, whether it's LinkedIn, Instagram, or Facebook. And you can upcycle that to drive traffic that's relevant from those communities to your YouTube channel. But you also have now created native content that is good to get your one post a day in on these other platforms. So the thing is, when everyone says, well, I can't do all platforms, I can't be everywhere at once, it's just not having a good strategy. Right? Because something you make that's of a high enough quality that you're ready to share on YouTube, aspects of that can be made and repurposed and count as a post on another platform, but are also part of a branding strategy because okay, that's a YouTube video, but it's still you. It's still your brand, it's still your voice, it's your message. Having that as a post in another platform, and it's native. It's not just, oh, embed a YouTube video, share a YouTube video. It's a snippet of that. It's respecting the culture and context of Instagram, if it's a square and it has captions at the bottom. It's respecting the culture and context of Facebook if it's something that's not entirely reliant on the audio playing right away. It's respecting the culture of LinkedIn if you title it properly and it's relevant to a conversation that someone would want to opt into. And so upcycling in that way and repurposing your content with context and platform in mind is great. And I think that YouTube is a really good starting point because it's going to be the archive right? The culture of Instagram is scrolling, ultimately, and also sharing. It's the same with Facebook, and it's also that people in your network that are closer relationships, that's what Facebook is about. So you trust content that was shared or posted to somebody from Facebook probably more than most of your other platforms because of the fact that, well, to have a relationship in Facebook is to literally say, I want to be your friend or I'm your family member, if you're being used in that way. And then when it comes to LinkedIn, well, you're trusting that because it's coming from someone who's a professional contact. So in that way, being able to take that context of relationship and upcycle that as traffic to your YouTube is much more meaningful, but it's also respecting that those posts are moment to moment algorithmically. They're not always even in chronological order, and it's not really to a point to where any of these platforms have adopted a great archival, with the exception of the grid post from an Instagram standpoint is the next closest thing I would argue to a YouTube thing. But YouTube is archival, and YouTube, out of all these platforms, prioritizes search and has dominated that as what its culture is. And everyone here knows that search is intentional. If you're going to search for something, it's specificity. It's not moment to moment. And YouTube's algorithm does have some moment to moment features on the homepage, but at the end of the day, the majority of people here probably click less on random videos assorted on their homepage, and in the last 72 hours, I almost guarantee in the last 72 hours, you did a Google or a YouTube search, and if you did a Google search, you were served up a YouTube video as a result in that Google search, whether you clicked on it or not. The point is it was an option to watch a video about that thing you were looking for. And again, show of hands real quick. In the last 48 hours, has anybody here searched for a video on YouTube in the last 48 hours? Show of hands and keep them up. Look at that. Now we had a lot of people that didn't even post to LinkedIn just today or even yesterday or maybe even as far back as last week, but nearly everyone in this room in the last 48 hours has searched intentionally for a video on YouTube. And so that's where I think, if you're going to pay attention to all of these platforms or any of them, you could start with making a video intentionally for somebody to search in YouTube, and that would still have value in your Instagram feed. It would still have value posting to your professional contacts a snippet of that in LinkedIn to generate a conversation and to meet your post quota. And the thing is, it still might be something that your friends or family or network or the fans of your Facebook brand page would either be interested in or at least might share, which gives you the word of mouth equity that that platform provides. So it's kind of what my thought is.
There's a stat that I used to say. So I'm a certified Google trainer. Google hired me like 7 years ago to do talks on behalf of Google to train people about Google's products and services. And there's a stat that they like to share that I was sharing back then. That YouTube at one point actually surpassed Google in the amount of searches per day, the volume of searches per day. So if you think about that YouTube is like enormous, and everything that's on YouTube is evergreen. When you post something on LinkedIn, your people will see it for like a day, 2 days, 3 days, or as long as you engage in the comments. But after that, it gets lost in your feed. Same thing with Facebook, it gets lost in the feed. With YouTube, it's there forever because it's based on search. So it's very, very powerful. It's like evergreen.
I still have videos that are generating traffic, leads, and sales that are still relevant because of what they were from 2 years ago. 2 years ago. And again, it's not like this enormous amount of money, but I just love winking at the fact that when I open up my phone app, there's a video from about, I want to say 16 months ago that still generates $250 a month in my sleep from work I did almost 2 years ago. I always just love winking at that because I know that that stack adds up if you make enough content.
And one day, somebody told me, Joe, when are you going to keep uploading? I have a YouTube channel called GrowTime.tv where I help entrepreneurs grow from average Joe to CEO. So I had to kind of do it over. So he's like, how are you going to do 52 episodes? And I thought to myself, how do I do that? So what I did was I simply wrote out 52 3-minute episodes, basically just writing the title of each thing I'm going to talk about, and I hired a videographer to work with me with 3 90-minute sessions, and I knocked out 52 weeks worth of content really quickly because I understand my business, right? So you understand your business, you can, if you come up with 52 topics or even 12 topics, you can probably knock that out in like 1 or 2 90-minute sessions if it's just a minute video each, and those videos are still generating leads for me every single day. I get people added to my newsletter from all the videos that I produced 3 years ago.
Right, so to tie it back to what Bubba was talking about earlier and some of the other coaches were talking about, you gotta have a plan, right? Social media is not just, and we're gonna do a little experiment after this panel so we can all connect, but you gotta have a plan.
I'm gonna give, like, everyone pull out your notes or pull out your phone, because like, right now I'm gonna, like, without any of you hiring me, and by the way, hire me, I'm gonna give you a content strategy right now. I'm going to steal this content strategy, I'm giving it to you for free, so you're gonna really want to write this down. It's really simple. There's 12 months in a year. Theme out 12 high-level concepts that you can attack for the year. So that means you have to come up initially with 12 ideas. That's it. That's a lot less intimidating than 52. 12 months in a year. Okay, cool. Now you have these in a calendar. Just sort of priority, and maybe some of this is timely because of seasonality, right? From there, okay, there's 4 to 5 weeks in every month. Now all you have to do is come up with 4 to 5 topics that are subcategories of these 12 themes that you picked, and that creates this content calendar for you, right? So now you have that ability to do it. Now, beyond that, because that's a really simple and straightforward to do it, it's variations where it's, okay, here are 12, like, more or less questions possibly, and now here are 4 different sub-questions that directly relate to that, or 4 different ways to answer that question. This gives you your content, and it's literally enough content for you to fill up a year if you do weekly content. As far as getting that out, like I said, you can hire a video producer and an editor very affordably to do that. And if you need help figuring that out, again, you can reach out to me and I can help you come up with a plan for that. I can also recommend people or help you vet that as far as how to go about finding those people. But here's another trick for you, is if you go to an event or you host an event and there are people there that are of note or thought leaders or experts or people like, you know, all the people here on this panel, here's a hack for you. You can go ahead and you can rent an Airbnb, or you can do a short-term rent on a condo in a location and invite people out, and you have the place for a week. It's affordable. It's a brilliant filming location. Go ahead and get a cameraman and a person, get the place well lit, and literally just have these people run in and out of these interviews. When I go to conferences, a good hack is if I can book the business office in the hotel, or I can book a location or a co-working space nearby. Great, you've got an office, you take the cameras, you invite 10 of the professionals or the people, or even people of note based on the fact that they have an interest in the industry, and let a beginner ask you questions. And you can literally cycle and turnkey content from that. Anything that's an interview, that's an hour or a 90-minute interview, can be cut into 5-minute segments, or you can have 10 questions in an interview, and every one of those 10 questions you can have a full interview. And guess what? Every question, every back and forth, could be a video by itself. You do 5 or 10 video interviews in a weekend, in a 3-day weekend, all of a sudden, you've got these 10 questions, you've got these 5 or 10 interviews, that's 50 pieces of content that was generated in like a weekend at a gorgeous location that was very affordable. So if you're gonna tell me, well, that sounds expensive to do, to hire people or to do this or have someone come out every week, no, stage the entire thing. You as a model, there's photo shoots, there'd be so many concepts, so many costume changes, wardrobe changes, location changes that were all planned and mapped out and processed and produced, and it could knock out so much material in just like 2 days of shooting, right? Same deal. As far as even the rest of the platforms, by the way, once you have content and it's in the can, use scheduling tools like Hootsuite or Buffer so that you can throw that and assist it to get it out on a release schedule on time. So literally, I just gave you an entire content mapping strategy for a year, and all you have to do is figure out the details of an execution, which is, by the way, just hire anyone on this panel. So, there's that.
You're hired.
Excellent.
Talk to me after the panel, let's do it.
So, we have a few minutes left. Let's, I'm sure we have some questions. So let's throw it to the audience for questions. Anybody have specific questions for any of our experts? Different platforms. We have a question here, a question there. Steve, Jason.
So, I guess the question's for Brendan.
with a lot of other platforms, it's easy to provide more content along with pictures. So coming from a domain background, obviously that all has to do with strategy on every platform. Like you're saying, you're not just pitching pictures of buildings saying for sale, contact me with your phone number. So in the domain industry, when we are selling, I guess, virtual real estate, but it comes down to a name, obviously you want to be creative, but you don't want to just post, home.com, contact me if you're interested. So in our industry, I've kind of found a good way with LinkedIn and other platforms, and I see other domainers, but all they're doing is posting their name for sale or their services. So
Here's the listing.
right, like contact me if you're interested or know anyone. So I'm trying to think of a way that I can utilize
Through Instagram?
Yeah.
So a lot of that would go to things that will always be out there, like they're talking about with YouTube or LinkedIn. For instance, like a hashtag. I've just started one for my team, the Trentham team hashtag. So on every one of those sales, if a person clicks that, they're going to see all the rest that I've done before, right? So it's constantly going to be out there. Again, with those, when you're looking at your followers, like say you have 1,000 followers, you've started, and you finally got it up to this. You want to, first off, I would switch it to a business page, even if it's on your personal, because you get insights. So those insights are going to tell you like the most optimal time for you to post, for where those followers are coming from, whether it's from New York to Los Angeles. Like for me, mine are mostly on the East Coast. So I know the middle of the day, which is the optimal time for people to look, between 12 and 3 for me. I'm going to get the most traffic, the most likes. And then on those hashtags, I'm going to trend towards the top of the feed. So once you trend to the top of that, you stay there, I'm constantly getting likes days after because people are still just searching the hashtag. So I think it's about creating something that will last, like you said, for a long time. And the only way you can do that right now on Instagram is the hashtag, the geolocator. It's not about just tagging New York, it's about specific. Like for me, it's Chelsea, or if it's a big building, it's tagging that specific building, like Walker Tower, for instance, downtown.
Another question over here.
Thank you. By the way, guys, excellent job so far. All you guys are unique and special, and make all of us think and understand our businesses better, and really want to hear more and more from you. So I'm going to try to capitalize this question, which is difficult for me to see what I'm thinking, in a mix perhaps of everybody. So, without really having shameless plugs, but I have different companies. Some of them are significantly different verticals. And my experience for several decades, we reached the top of trust and worthiness in some of these verticals. So we don't do anything on social media. We want to start. God bless, we have a lot of new people signing up for us all the time for our affiliate network and for brick and mortar companies. So one of the challenges I have about coming and starting with some social media, I don't know how to define myself in a public setting as who I am. I'm the CEO of 3 different companies. They're all in the same space, but in different things. I'm a public speaker at different venues for these different companies. And I don't know how to put a leg forward. I don't think people can understand sometimes when somebody has experience in depth in more than one vertical. It just doesn't work that way. So I only speak in one venue where I'm at about that particular thing, and that's about Outspice. So how do you go out there and brand yourself or brand your entities and your companies where it's multifaceted, to say one way? Does that make sense?
It makes absolute sense because, and by the way, you just did it. You just did it. If I had to classify you, you're a serial entrepreneur. By itself, that's a story. You see, specificity exists within the frame of storytelling. There's a frame that you can use to explore that, because the thing is, your story is unique and attracts people. You're a serial entrepreneur. You know who else is a serial entrepreneur? Mark Cuban's a serial entrepreneur. Damon John's a serial entrepreneur. Gary Vaynerchuk's a serial entrepreneur. So you can have a personal brand, but because you have an interesting and unique enough story to justify and merit that, because you've lived a life of experience, there's more than one volume to your book. You can just prioritize what aspect of it you dive into first. But a good primer is talking about your years of building multiple businesses and also the challenge and struggle of communicating that is in itself a story. You just told a really great story that everyone here was, I think, on some level fascinated by and would aspire to on some level. The other aspect of that is building unique brands, the same way you build unique businesses, is really the same thing. The social media aspect of that is basically having pop-up shops or satellite installations or a franchise chain, if you really think about it. It's the same as retail. So I think the thing is that for those individual profiles and on individual social media platforms, you can, through your network, through your employees, you can build and farm all of that out. But I think part of what your question became is, you are lost on the differentiation of that versus just your personal brand as an individual. And I think your personal brand as an individual, you have such a compelling story that I think other people would then look into what is going on with those other companies, because I immediately am curious about every business that you've built now.
All right. Okay, unfortunately, we are way over time, but by design. We're going to call it now. What I'd like to do is a little bit of an experiment as we go to the next panel. Everybody open your phone up, like Joe said, and let's all connect in this room. For the next 15 minutes, an hour, we'll keep the LinkedIn app open, let everybody connect with one another.
So should I tell everyone how to do it? Okay, so you open up your phone, and you click on the two little people, which is My Network. And once that loads, you're going to see on the top or in the middle, it's going to say Find Nearby. If you're not sure how to do it, just go to the person next to you and ask them, because they're probably doing it. And if it doesn't load, you can just close your app and restart it. Click the two little people, and then you click on Find Nearby. I'm actually doing a webinar next week that teaches people how to create a strategy. So if you find me, Joe Apfelbaum on LinkedIn, and look at my summary, you're going to be able to sign up for that webinar for free. So I'm going to send it to all the people. I actually took snapshots of all the people that came on last time. So do you see it? Do you guys see it? Yep. Okay, cool.
So what we're going to do now is we're going to break. You got everybody's name. If you want to reach anyone from the show, email me directly. Forget the names, or just Jason at NameSummit. Send me an email. I'll connect you with any one of our experts if I can. If you forgot how to reach them, I'm one resource.
You forgot to say .com.
What was that?
You forgot to say .com.
NameSummit.com. Thank you, Steve. Jason at NameSummit.com. I'll connect you with all our experts. That's what we're going to do, is provide extra value. Thank you, Joe, Alex, Brent, and Roberto. Great.
Thank you, guys.
We're going to do a selfie. Let's do a selfie. We'll do a selfie with everybody, all right? All together, like this. Watch, guys. Look at me. You ready? Everybody go a little crazy. Make some noise. Awesome. Good job.
Thank you again, Roberto Blake, Brendan, Alex, Melen, and Joe Apfelbaum.
Friends, put everyone in the room now.
Okay, we're going to take a few pictures. We're going to start with the next panel. Look at that. Look at that beautiful. I want to get in that picture there. Look at Roberto Blake. Thank you, guys.
Very different fun.